My name is Elena Cross, and if you're hearing this, it means the world has already seen the cracks I've carved into its glass. Tonight is not about forgiveness, and it is not about closure. Tonight is about the truth that has been suffocated under silence for too long. I was not born a ghost. I was not born a hacker, or a criminal, or the voice that suddenly flickers across your television while you're eating dinner, the face that interrupts your favorite streaming series, the message that hijacks the screens in Times Square. I was born a daughter, a sister, a girl who believed in the rules written on paper and the justice sung about in courts. But the world taught me different lessons. It taught me that those who hold power rewrite the rules, and those who are silent get erased. My silence has ended, and tonight I tell you my story, not because I want your sympathy, but because revenge is never complete unless someone remembers why it happened. I used to work in archives, dusty basements full of forgotten files, a place where paper and silence met. I was quiet, unnoticed, just another pair of hands cataloging the lies of powerful men. But that anonymity gave me something priceless: access. I saw contracts buried in folders, receipts stamped in red, photographs stapled where they thought no one would look. I pieced together the story of my brother's death, not an accident, not a mistake, but an execution ordered by a CEO whose hands never touched blood yet dripped with it all the same. They killed him because he discovered something he wasn't supposed to, because he tried to make it public. And when I screamed for justice, the courts laughed me out. Evidence lost, witnesses disappeared, my name blacklisted like a shadow erased from every door I knocked on. That was the night I stopped being Elena the archivist and started being Elena the ghost. Ghosts do not beg. Ghosts watch. Ghosts learn. I taught myself to become invisible not just in the streets but in the networks. I cracked passwords the way others cracked open locks. I slipped through firewalls the way I once slipped through doors with stolen keycards. I became fluent in the language of code, where every symbol was a secret waiting to be opened. But revenge is not built overnight, it festers, layer by layer, until you don't just want the man who took everything from you to suffer, you want the world that enabled him to watch him fall. So I didn't strike immediately. I collected. I recorded. I built a ledger not on paper but on stolen servers hidden in corners of the web no one looks at. Every bribe, every order, every disappearance, I wove it into a story that no denial could erase. But simply leaking it would have been too easy. The world drowns in leaks. I wanted them to see my face, to hear my voice, to know the ghost they ignored had teeth. The first broadcast was an accident, at least, that's what they thought. A glitch in their system, a flicker on the stock exchange screens. But it wasn't random. I hijacked the moment the CEO announced record profits, plastering his smile with a video of my brother's lifeless body, time-stamped with evidence they buried. The panic was immediate. Phones buzzed, channels cut away, but not before millions saw it. That was my warning shot. I told them there would be more, that every broadcast would reveal another truth, another crime, another skeleton from the closets they had locked with golden keys. The police called me a terrorist. The media called me a hacker. But the people called me justice. Justice became addictive. Each broadcast was a new confession, but not of my sins, of theirs. I showed the city councilor signing off a demolition that buried a neighborhood alive. I revealed the senator's offshore accounts bloated with stolen pensions. I displayed the security footage of a CEO dining in Paris the same night he claimed to be visiting hurricane victims. Each revelation fed the hunger of the public. They didn't just watch me, they waited for me. Hashtags trended, conspiracy forums lit up, graffiti appeared on walls, Elena is everywhere. But here is the truth they didn't see: every broadcast wasn't just revenge. It was bait. I wanted them angry. I wanted them scared. I wanted them to come for me, because when you corner a predator, you see their true face. And they did come for me. The police raided apartments I never lived in. They stormed basements filled with nothing but wires and empty coffee cups I left behind like breadcrumbs. They built digital traps with glowing bait, waiting for me to slip. But every time they reached, I was already inside their own systems, watching their plans unfold. I listened to their panic calls, read their classified reports, even rewrote their arrest warrants to target each other. I wasn't just a ghost anymore, I was their nightmare, the voice in their radios, the shadow in their code. But with every move, I felt the weight of what I was becoming. Was I still avenging my brother, or had I become addicted to the power of being heard? When the world begins to chant your name, silence feels like death. Then came the night of the broadcast they will never forget. I didn't hijack just one channel. I hijacked them all. Every television, every phone, every billboard lit up with my face. I was everywhere, in living rooms, in subway tunnels, in the reflection of shop windows. And I told them everything: names, dates, crimes, proof. I didn't shout. I whispered, because whispers force people to lean closer. I showed them the ledger, my masterpiece, the record of every lie they had fed us. I told them justice had always been an illusion sold to keep us quiet. I told them silence was complicity. And then I gave them a choice: believe me and rise, or ignore me and watch the empire swallow you next. The city erupted. Protests turned into riots, riots turned into flames. They blamed me for the chaos, but chaos was always their design. I only held up a mirror. You might ask, what about him, the CEO, the man who started this spiral with my brother's blood? Did I ever face him? Did I ever make him beg? Yes. But not in the way you expect. See, revenge is not always about pulling the trigger. Sometimes it's about forcing your enemy to live in a world where his power means nothing. The night my face lit up every screen, his empire collapsed. Stocks plummeted, allies abandoned him, and in the panic of the mob, he was dragged from his fortress of glass. I didn't have to lift a hand. He drowned in the sea of truth I unleashed. And as I watched him fall, I felt nothing, not triumph, not joy, just the cold silence of a story finally ending. But here is the secret they don't know, the twist I never spoke until now. This broadcast, this one you're hearing, it's not live. It's a recording, buried in the networks, set to trigger long after I'm gone. Maybe I've disappeared into the shadows. Maybe they've finally caught me. Maybe I am nothing but another ghost story whispered about in the cracks of the internet. It doesn't matter. What matters is this: silence always remembers. You may kill the messenger, but the message has already multiplied. I am not one woman anymore. I am a signal, a virus, a story that refuses to die. So when your screen flickers at night, when your phone glitches, when a whisper of static cuts through your music, don't dismiss it as a bug. Remember me. Remember Elena Cross, the archivist who became the ghost, the sister who turned her grief into fire, the woman who hijacked your silence and gave it a voice. And remember this: revenge is never the end of a story. It is the beginning of a new one, written not by the powerful, but by those they thought were powerless. My name is Elena Cross, and this was my final broadcast. But it will not be the last.